r/ask Reddit. What part of aging do you wish someone had warned you about? The fact that I don't feel older. It's just that younger people seem even younger. Exactly. I am 31 with a 15-month-old daughter and I still feel way too young to have a kid. But then I see people in their early 20s with kids and my mind explodes. How does that little kid have a baby already? I think the only noticeable indication that I'm not in my 20s anymore are body aches and pains. I'm a little squishier and saggier, and I'm all of a sudden susceptible to developing allergic reactions to a number of things that have never given me issue before. But there isn't enough money in the world that could convince me to go back unless I got to take my gained wisdom with me. Sure, I joined the army at 29. I'm almost 32 now. I can say, as far as aches and pains go, I am wishing I joined during my teen years. This physical shit hurts lol. That you can often prevent, but rarely go back. It applies to skin, joints, and many other issues. Apply sunscreen vigorously. Do this. My aunt lived in the sun tanning beds and now looks like a leather handbag at 50, but like a really shitty old one. There were some girls I knew in high school that paid for that look 3 days out of the week. I'm not kidding. They would go to one of the 5 local tanning businesses. This is a very small, dying town and we have 5 tanning salons, 3 times a week so that they could look like the 7/11 hot dog that time forgot. They thought it made them look so beautiful, but to me it looked like their skin was processed meat casing that had been cooked until it could never spoil because even bacteria and mold refused to go anywhere near it. The part where all those broken bones, torn ligaments, injuries that never healed correctly, imperfect posture, terrible lift form, all build up and then eventually explode as you get older. It sucks. Oh, I'm 26. And I have a horrible slouch. Every time I remember, I fix my posture, but when I'm not conscious of it, I fall back into the slouch. I'm scared for my back when I get older. Yep, something doesn't heal properly and throws the way you walk, etc. out of whack ever so slightly. 20 years later your knee starts hurting and you realize you've been favoring one leg. It's domino effect and it sucks. My sister refused to listen to my parents telling her to walk properly when she was a kid. Walked on the side of her feet all the time. Sat cross-legged. Wouldn't do shoes up properly, just trod the backs down and shuffled everywhere. Refused to wear sensible shoes in her teens and trotted everywhere in heels. Part of it is a family issue with bunions and rotated toe joints. But a lot of it was down to her laziness and refusal to put the effort in to correct the problem. She now has chronic foot and knee pain that is slowly spreading to her hips and back where everything is misaligned and just keeps getting worse. She's 22. I dread to think what it'll be like when she is actually old. That try as you may, you're never fully prepared for your parents to get older. Somehow I still half expect my mom to be able to do certain things and it's disheartening that she can't. Even more so that she lacks the ambition and drive to do much. Mortality is a beach. Basically. Same. My mom had me super late. I'm 27 and she's turning 70. I can't ducking deal with all the shit. Same situation here, and I'm terrified of my parents dying. It keeps me up at night for hours sometimes. I don't know what to do, and reading this thread has made me extremely anxious and scared. Edit. Thank you so much for all the kind words and advice. It means the world to me, and I've had a discussion with my parents about the future. I'll be following a lot of your advice in the coming years. As the parents in this thread, 56 years with a 12-year-old son, we can say this. We love you for this comment. Recognizing it comes from a fear you are feeling. Tell them you feel this way if you have a good relationship. This thread, and your comment, reminded us of how much we want to add to our son's life still. Yes, because we are older it is a more stable environment. We are mature enough not to do stupid shit and get divorced and we are more comfortable financially, so he is less likely to suffer that pain, so that is good. But, equally, your comments remind us we need to do our bit physically. What a wonderful motivation to exercise, eat healthy, and ensure we keep giving him amazing memories for when we do inevitably pass away. If we do our bit, chances are we will have a much longer life ahead of us. Thank you for the gift of this remark and this thread for our family. Share your thoughts with your parents. They may just react the same way and you've added years of joy to both of your lives. Much better than worrying and being anxious. Thanks for your gift. I hope we have returned the favor. Telling them may bring you closer and may help them work even harder to stay healthy and enjoy their lives with you for so many more years to come. Keep the faith. How fast time seems to start moving as you get older. Well, I am older and I have been sitting at work for what feels like a month today. My great grandma tried to warn me about this. I didn't understand at the time, seeing as I was at my high school graduation party and time seemed endless. She said to me that when you're young time seems endless, you can think about your day in minutes that pass by. As you age, you watch those minutes turn to what feel like seconds. Hours will pass like minutes. In your adulthood you'll see days pass like seconds on your wristwatch. I asked her how fast time passed for her. She told me how she would feel as if she felt like she lost months at a time as she daydreamed of her past. When you start to know your parents as just regular people instead of parents. This has been one of the worst parts of getting older for me. In my head, they are still in their late 30s, but every time I see them they are in their 60s for some reason. The other day my dad told me how they'd like to spend their remaining years, and I'm thinking, why worry about that when you're still so young? But they aren't young anymore and neither am I, and I don't like these discussions. I just want to sit at the kids' table again while my parents play cards with their friends. My parents recently took me to where they have reserved their burial plots. The area is stunningly gorgeous, in the Colorado mountains. But the whole thing made me sad. Dad joked about him and mom spending all of my inheritance money in the next 10-15 years. I looked at him and said, do it. I want them to enjoy themselves. And that makes me happier than thinking about whatever money stuff I'll get when they pass on. Crap, they're growing old still hits me in the gut. That there is no such thing as an adult. You just grow older, and people expect more of you, and you do your best to make shit work. When you are old enough to say, when I grow up, that is as grown up as you're ever gonna be, and the rest is trial, error, and hard work. Yep, I'm about 2 months from 49, and I don't feel anything like I thought 48 would be like when I was a little kid, i.e., completely decrepit. Then again, I thought 30 was ancient at that time. Then again, my aunt, who's 92, told me the same thing. She's always so surprised when she looks in the mirror and she sees this old lady. The eyes. I wish I could have my younger eyes with no reading glasses. Oh, and you know all of those metal concerts? Tinnitus is a beach. Duck. I wish someone had ducking warned me about tinnitus when I was chasing a music career. That shit just gets worse as time goes on. I get it. I'm 58 and was in broadcasting for 35 years with the headphones cranked every day for a 4-hour show and a 2-hour production shift. My nickname at work is what? My knee's dying on me. I played at least one season of soccer from age 4 to 22 every year, and then some small leagues once I hit 24. Now sitting at 40, my right knee sounds like a bowl of Rice Krispies if I bend it just right. I'm 21 and my knees have sounded like Rice Krispies cereal every time I bend for years. They don't hurt though, so I wonder why they pop so much. Probably nothing, man. I'm the same, but during a medical for a job a couple of months back, the doctor doing it told me that it's just the same as your knuckles cracking and that it's just pockets of escaping gas. The only time to worry is if after the popping cracking noise you feel significant amounts of pain. Saw a bumper sticker that summed it up nicely. Inside every old person is a young person wondering what happened. My grandpa says he still feels like he's 18, then wonders what the duck happened when he looks in the mirror. Damn. Came to this thread for adults to scare me into moisturizing my skin, and instead, I'm now having an existential crisis. Reading this makes me worried that I'm wasting my body right now typing this in bed. Like shit, man, I'm 21 in a little over a week, but I might as well be turning 100 because I guess my life is basically over. Your body is going to hurt for no reason at all sometimes. And you'll go to the doctor and they'll tell you that everything is fine. This may be gender specific, I'm a woman, but how the perception of your looks changes as you age. In other words, by the mere fact that I am visibly aging at all, past a certain age I become inherently less attractive. I would say that Up until my mid-20s and maybe past that, every year I seemed to get more attractive. I didn't really change. I've always been pretty trim, with a good body, nice face, nice hair, etc. But somehow I grew into my looks. I went from being someone who got a lot of attention but mostly bad, to someone who got a lot more attention, good and bad. Then as I got past 30, then 35, then 40, things changed a lot. I was still dating when I was in my 30s, but it became much harder. Again, I didn't gain weight, go grey, or even have any wrinkles, but I did look like I was in my 30s rather than my 20s, and the men who were interested in me would get older and older with the passing years. First mostly guys 5 years older would be interested, then 10. I did meet some men who were my own age, one of whom I eventually married. He continues to think I am good looking. He is also not too hard on the eyes. This has also affected my work. I now work in the same place I did when I was in my 20s, left and came back about 15 years later. And it's amazing to see how differently people, many of them the same people, treat me. When I was young, I often felt like I was the target of a lot of bad attention from the big men in charge, but I also didn't realize that part of the reason they took me seriously, or acted like it, when they did was because they enjoyed having the attention and the approval of a young, pretty girl. As a woman in my early 40s now, it doesn't matter that I wear the same dress size, have the same hair color and cut, almost the same face. I am still beautiful, but I'm old beautiful. I find these men take me less seriously than before. When I was a grad student, even with my big fancy PhD, publications, and grants now. Very odd. Too long didn't read, regardless of how objectively good looking a woman is and remains. Many if not most, women will just age out of the category of pretty or beautiful. They will not be considered ugly. They just won't be considered at all. Your last sentence scares me as a young woman. This is one of the saddest comment sections I've ever read. Oh man, I feel the opposite, which is actually part of how I would answer the OP. Getting older means caring less about things you thought you would freak out about. You think you can't do it, but you can and it feels mostly fine. 31 is the new 13. You're gonna get pimples again and they're gonna be hideous. But now I have a wife that likes to pop them. Weirdly. God bless these women and their sadistic pleasure from our whimpering. That grey whitehead hair isn't the same texture as the rest of your hair. They're wiry like pubes. I'm not scared of the color change, but the texture change has me quite concerned. I'm not scared of the color or texture change. I'm scared of just losing it altogether. The hype for when you become an adult, turning 18, isn't really that great. It gets more stressful and you are expected to be more responsible. Randomly growing hair on your chin neck. One day you see this big black hair and try and brush it off. Oh, you think it's stuck, so you try and pull it off. Then you realize it's growing out of you. From then on it's all downhill. Every day you pull out half a dozen with tweezers. Sometimes the resulting pores get infected and you end up with spots like a teenager. Then there are the ones that are not quite long enough to tweeze, just below the skin. Do they look like a blackhead on fairer skin? And then you end up gouging a small hole in your face just to get it out, which then scabs over. There. That's better. The worst is hair around the nips. That's always an awkward surprise. Edit. Especially for women. That even the most unlikely of your friends to get married and have kids will do it and disappear eventually, if you're not on that path. 2. Things get a lot more lonely. That major life milestones really aren't that important. Nothing will change after your first kiss, graduation, turning 18, getting beat with jumper cables, or turning 21. Life just keeps on going and events that aren't your death don't really impact you as much as you believed they would. One of these things is not like the other. Teeth. Take care of your teeth because it's painful and expensive work if you need your whole mouth worked on just because you didn't brush your teeth twice a day. Losing your hearing. I guess I was warned about it, but I had a desk job after college, and I spent a decade with earbuds listening to music every day while I worked. Now my hearing is ducked. I struggle discerning specific sounds in a crowded bar. to the point I don't even try to converse with the people around me. Last summer I went to a concert and I brought earplugs. A drunk chick in her early 20s near me made fun of the earplugs. I couldn't blame her. I would never have imagined a time in my life when I needed to wear earplugs to a concert, but I knew I needed to protect my ears as best as possible. It will happen to all of you youngins. As you start into your 30s, you will notice your hearing starts to get a bit more challenging along with other weird aches and pains that you realize may never totally go away. That hangovers are so much worse. Oh man, that special, horrible suffering that comes with your first official adult hangover, the tastes, the gnawing nausea, the searing pain of light, and then you remember you have to go to work and feel like shit there all day. Then, later on in life, if you're still stupid enough to drink stupid amounts of stupid booze, you get to visit by a new horror, the multiple day hangover. That discharge is a thing that happens all the time until you hit menopause. I'm 25 and I've come to accept it at this point. But no one warned me before I hit puberty that it would look like I sneezed in my panties every single day. My mom has told me that once you hit menopause, you either need to take some hormone supplements or you need to start using lube because things will get dry and smelly down there. Lovely. Been wet all day every day since I was 14. I've begun to take it for granted. Duck. Seeing your parents age. One of my scarier moments was the time I realized I was now stronger than my dad. We were moving some furniture and he took the heavier end out of habit. Couldn't lift it all that well. We switched sides after a few yards and I found I could lift that end just fine. We both knew what happened, but we never spoke of it. The silent shame of age. This is a real moment for a lot of guys. When you are little, you want to be bigger and stronger than your dad. But when you eventually are, you kinda wish you weren't. The part where hurting yourself as a kid can have long-term negative side effects. I played football in high school only. Had 4 concussions at least and busted both of my shoulders. Now in my late 20s I get migraines and the doctors said I have the shoulders you would find on a 80-90-year-old man. By my mid to late 30s they said I will need a shoulder replacement on both arms ideally. If I knew that when I was 14 I would have done theater or math club or anything that didn't involve physical violence. I can barely sleep now because of the pain. I'd rather know how to act and sleep instead of saying I played football. It was a waste of time and now it negatively affects me every day. Every day. It's not what you know as much as it's who you know. Work your ass off and have a far better track record than many of those you compete against. You'll come out second often. I am an awful self-promoter and even worse at politics. I've seen some meteoric rises over the last 15 years of my professional career. Some really shifty people that will act as if they're your friend but will not hesitate to steal ideas from you and throw you under the bus for tiny mistakes. Work hard, but put in the time to network and politic. You don't have to kiss all kinds of ass and be that guy, and if you feel you have to switch jobs ASAP, that you don't slowly, consistently, physically age. Like you'd think year X+1 you feel a little older than X, and X+2 you feel a little older, and so on. No, you feel like X for 10 years and then you feel like X+12 overnight, and it's a Thursday, and you know you last did something physical on Sunday so you have no idea what happened. It makes no ducking sense. I wish someone had warned me about the pain. No one coddles you. Your feelings aren't spared. And pets die. I wish someone had warned me about cruel and manipulative people that will try to stomp you out or use you. I wish someone had warned me that hard work doesn't always pay off, but part of growing up is being able to pick yourself up each time you get knocked down. I wish someone had warned me about how exhausting and will-killing it is to keep yourself motivated to continue trying. I wish someone had warned me how hard it was always going to be as an adult. An endless stream of bad luck with slivers of happiness that give you just enough hope to get out of bed. Edit. Little background. I'm a nurse for animals, veterinary assistant. I worked in emergency for 2 years, and heartbreak is holding a kitten while it gets put down. I've been sexually assaulted. My father split when I was a newborn, and my mother is an alcoholic. I did not have a happy childhood, and yes, Many of these things I was forced to learn by myself as a kid. But I was a kid, so there was a long time before I could accept that. As an adult, these things continue and you basically just have to deal with it. No one warned me, and I wish someone had. For the record, this was not meant as a woe is me party. I love my job, even with all the sadness, and I'm in a wonderful, healthy relationship with my groom-to-be. I keep a pessimistic, logical view of everything and it keeps me in touch with reality, but it's just how I am. I don't look down on anyone for their way of life, either, as long as it's not trying to cause harm to anyone else. You do you. Boo, peace, love, and cornbread. How tired I would suddenly get. I know 26 isn't that old, but suddenly I need naps midday. Check your iron levels. When I was younger, in my 20s, I thought I was just tired all the time. Turns out I was anemic. It creeps up on you slowly. 53 here. Your body will decline. Yes, and if you don't use it you will definitely lose it. Do something every day, even if it's just taking a walk, but in return you gain something very valuable. Wisdom and chill. Wisdom isn't intelligence. It's not like I turned 50 and could suddenly do differential equations. Wisdom is meeting someone and knowing just what their agenda is. Wisdom is being able to tell when someone's trying to manipulate you and turning it around on them. Wisdom is realizing that when someone shows you their true nature, you should believe them. And you do get chill. The little things that drove you absolutely buck-duck when you were 25 are not worth stressing about. You think to yourself, do I want to die on this hill? The answer is usually no. And you stop giving ducks, and that's wonderful. You give zero ducks about what people think of you because you've learned that, for one thing, people are pretty much only thinking about themselves. And two, you've lived your life as you've lived it and other people's opinions haven't affected it or you. They don't have to live your life or live with your choices. You do. So do what you want with your life and what is right for you. I know people my age who did what was expected of them and now they are bitter and miserable and hateful. And they know, but won't admit, that it's their own damn fault and that they are stuck living the rest of their lives with the results of their choices. Do you? Duck the haters. Drink a duck ton of water every day. And stretch. Pets are awesome and a good mechanic is a prize beyond words. Laugh lines. It's like you're being punished for being happy in your youth. Good thing I'm depressed. How much harder it is to get the same sense of wonder and joy out of small things. When I was little, the most insignificant stuff would bring a smile to my face without me even trying. Now as an adult, I feel like I have to actively try to put myself in a positive mindset in order to enjoy small pleasures in life. I fear this is something I'll have to keep doing for the rest of my life. How much stress is put on you? Everyone says life gets harder when you grow up, but no one mentions the emotional toll it takes on you. You're going to get your ass kicked hard many times as you get older. Try and learn from it. Dust yourself off and get back after it. Don't waste time feeling sorry for yourself. Some of the best things that ever happened to me were a result of the toughest times in my life. I spent far too much energy feeling angry towards things I couldn't have controlled, and ultimately it was best for me in the end. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.